All right. So before I tell you what your I mean, before we watch the video, let's talk about your assignment this week. So your assignment is simple to come up with your dream home. Tell me a little bit about what your dream house would look like, what would it have in it. I'm showing you mine on Chrome Canvas because I want you to understand it does not have to be perfect in any way, shape, or form. What I want to see is what kind of ideas would you have in architecture? What would your dream house, what sort of elements would you include? I would like for you to start thinking about how you'll use shape in your design. How will your shape be different? Are you going to use geometric shape, organic shape? Think about the function of the house, and particularly as we look at Frank Lloyd Wright's work, one of the reasons we talk about him and when we talk about architecture is because he designed so many different elements of his buildings, not just the exterior, but all of the interiors down to often the furniture. Like he was big on doing the chairs. Sometimes in the houses he would design for somebody, he might even design the silverware so that it matched the counters, that matched the walls, that matched the ceilings, that matched the outside, because his other big thing is he liked to bring those exterior or those environmental materials or from around that space directly into his homes. So if he was building in the woods, there's a beautiful house that I think we take a look at in the lesson today that he built with a river that goes through it. A river goes through this house. So while we're looking at his work, I want you to have your paper out and just be sketching your favorite house. Just draw your dream house today. Super easy, fun assignment, I think, today. I would like to see it in two different perspectives. So first of all, sort of what we call the layout. What from, like, if we looked at your house from above, and that's what I'm showing you here on the left here. If you look at this is sort of the layout of my house, my first floor, my upstairs. Okay, my first floor will be laid out like a C, and I'd have a pool down here, kind of in the middle, that I could get to from my bedroom or from the bathroom or the kitchen or the living room. No matter where you rent a house, when you go to the pool, boom, right there's gonna be a door that goes out there. And so this would be the front of my house. So this is what I want my house to look like from the front when I see it from the front. I'm gonna have a game room upstairs. So I'm showing the layout to the upstairs. It's just a rectangle that's kind of let you know that my upstairs is this part, but it's not this part and this part. So if you'll look over here on my front view, see, it doesn't go up 2 stories. It just goes up 1 story. So think about what you would do, how you would do it while you are working on yours. I'm going to be working on mine a little bit, but mostly I want to see what kind of layout design you would use. What would it look like from the exterior? You don't have to do just a front. And again, I'd like yours to be a little more complete. Look at, like, what would the materials, would this be made of brick? Would it be made of stone? Would the front be made of wood or paneling, or I should say siding? What would your roof be like? Would it be a red roof like those terracotta tiles, or maybe it's going to be a black shingle roof, that sort of thing? And then maybe think about what would be around it. If you want to draw the trees and landscape that might be around it. And so while you're thinking about your dream building, your dream home, and while you're hopefully drawing and working on it, we're going to take a look real quick at the work of Frank Lloyd Wright.
Frank Lloyd Wright is the next artist we're going to talk about. Let me go back here real quick. Oh. No, we won't. Frank Lloyd Wright was an American architect born in Wisconsin on June 8, 1867. Through his lifetime, he was an architect, interior designer, writer, and teacher. And when he was younger, he was inspired by his mother to follow his dreams. One of the things you should know about him that's probably going to be asked about is how he got his interest in starting as a child. He started working with those building blocks that you likely had as a child as well. He started the Prairie School of Design. Those types of houses have those overhanging eaves, edges of the roof stick out past the edge of the building, like you see in the white building in the middle. They're often grouped in long horizontal bands. The windows are, if you look at that little streak of light in the window on the left, or those bands of windows going horizontally in the building on the right. The movement was a reaction to houses that were built in a factory and of poor quality design. These architects use solid design and materials to create homes that would last. Wright believed in craftsmanship. The prairie schools have a very open floor plan, which means very often there weren't walls that impeded. Again, if you look at
when I talk about he was very interested in craftsmanship, the homes he designed were built to last. He was big on making sure that all of the materials were going to be permanent materials. He didn't use materials that would degrade quickly, and the structures themselves were always designed and built using the most advanced methods of construction at the time. He didn't cut any corners or anything. And so the other thing I want you to kind of think about is they talk about how big and open and these spaces are. The interior of his spaces were really big, and think about how that might affect if you were in that room. You know how it feels to be in a room that's got a lot of space in it. How does that make you feel?
Look at that space on the left. It's a very open space. Often made out of natural materials, and that was to kind of help them blend in with their surroundings. And as you can see, these are a couple of examples, and they often even made use of the materials that were local to that area, but they tried to make the homes blend in with their surroundings. Again, they also use these large windows to let that outside come in. As Wright's unique style developed, he became inspired by nature more and more. This is one of the homes he created called Falling Water. This is what I'll talk a little bit ask you a little bit about Falling Water. This design it makes use of a river that literally runs through the home. It's a beautiful home, but it often has some architectural issues with it as related to having a bunch of water come to the home all the time.
I want to stop that and go back to this for a second because I want you to take a look at that house. This is the one that I was talking about, has a river that runs through it. And so he would design, if you look at the building materials he's used there, that stone that it's made of, it came from that area right where that building exists, that house exists. And for a long time, this was someone's living, this is where they lived. They got up and had their morning coffee on that balcony looking over that river. Isn't that amazing? And he made big use of these vertical windows, lots of windows. By having so many windows and having the building made out of the environment around him, it really kind of created this feeling that the insides and the outsides were interchangeable almost. Like it almost felt like you were living in the forest. It was like, and the forest was living in your space. The river was coming through, the plants were there almost on, the trees were almost on the house and in the house. It was pretty neat.
Architectural issues with it as related to having a bunch of water come to the home all the time. Townsend West was built in 1937. This was the space that he used as a training center, really, for architects and apprentices who came to study with him. He started making these Usonian homes after he was challenged to make a home that would cost $5,000. But even in the very inexpensive homes, and you see an example of one on the left, he designed everything down to the furniture in these homes.
And so I want you to think about this too. We see these big elaborate homes that he creates. Frank Lloyd Wright really worked the scale. He went from the most expensive homes that you could possibly design to these really fairly affordable homes that didn't lack for anything. They were just as luxurious, just as nice as those really expensive homes, even on a sort of smaller scale. And if you think about it right now, one of the big things in architecture is the tiny home. We have a big movement to tiny homes. He was working 50 years ago, 40 years ago, making tiny homes.
He was famous for designing the furniture, particularly these chairs, which made use of these elongated rectangles. Very often he was obsessed with these geometric shapes. We've specifically looked at the way that Frank Lloyd Wright made use of stained glass and designed the stained glass in the homes that he created. He designed those specifically to go with his architecture that he was designing the home. Those windows were almost a parallel reflection. And when I say parallel reflection, I mean literally the lines in the windows paralleled the lines in the architecture. And so we see an example of that in that top left window. He did use color glass quite often, but he stuck with those primary colors: reds, yellows, blues, greens, and purples, primary and secondary colors, and very often those very simple geometric shapes: circles, triangles, rectangles, and so forth. The next artist that we studied was Frank Stella, American artist born in Massachusetts in 1936. One of the things that I'd like for you to know about him is he was learned from his father, who was a painter. He was a house painter, so he really became obsessed with these common tools that normal artists and regular people had to use. When he painted, he often painted in enamel paints, which are not a fine art paint. They're more of a traditional home or material you might paint houses or even cars with. Stella's art changed drastically over time. Sometimes he would start off with these drawings or paintings that he would paint over and over again. He was inspired by William de Kooning, Franz Klein, but he really wasn't as inspired by the abstract as he kind of hoped he would. He started looking for new ways to express himself through his paintings. And so to find his style, he started practicing.
Sorry, I couldn't get that to stop. I don't know why my lesson kept continuing there. There you go. All right. So we're looking at, I'm gonna go back. The house is any certain way? No. But I want to look at I'm trying to stop here for the stained glass. Let me make this a little bigger. So he would design, like I said, and like I mentioned there, down to the furniture and so forth, but even these windows, and he was known for these gorgeous windows that made use of a lot of geometric shape. So think about how he uses shape in creating his buildings. Almost all geometric, lots of rectangles, circles, triangles. When we look at these windows, they're repeating a lot of the same lines that we see in the buildings themselves. And so when you are designing yours, and no, you don't, there's no rules as to how you're designing yours. I sound like a robot. Oh, let me try turning my video off. Does that help with the sound? Micah, can you hear me now? Okay, guys, I apologize. I'm sorry if my sound is messing up. I don't know what's going on. It wouldn't let me stop the thing. I may be having some computer issues. I'm going to shut down and restart here in just a minute. But before we wrap up today, I want you all to get started on your home designs. Now, again, hopefully you've been working on them and you're getting them finished. Is it just your internet? Okay. Okay. All right, Micah, hopefully if you are having trouble, contact the help desk and let them know. They might be able to get you a new hotspot or work with you on your audio. Guys, what you're going to turn in, and I don't even have the assignment button turned on yet. I thought I had. I'll do that as soon as we get out of. I'll do it at 2:00 as soon as my high scores get out of here. But what you're going to submit for this week is your dream home. I would like to see sort of a floor plan. You can put them all on one piece of paper if you want to. You can put them on 2 pieces of paper. I don't care. But like a floor plan, what would it look like if we looked at it from the top so we can kind of see where everything would lay out? But also what it would look like from the front, or maybe if the back of your house would be just amazing. You're going to have some huge garden and waterfalls and all that. You want to show that? Show the back of it. But kind of give us an idea of what the interior would look like. Yeah, you can draw it. Listen, guys, every week, let me say this again and again. You can complete the assignment any way that you want to. I'm just asking you to draw your house. So you can draw it on paper with a pencil. You can draw it on cardboard with a marker. You can draw it on the computer using Chrome Canvas. But I want you just to have an original design that looks at how you would use shape, is yours going to make a lot of geometric shape? Or maybe remember that fat house, the white house looked like a big marshmallow. Maybe yours is going to be like a big marshmallow house. Think about how you use shape. Maybe think about how you use the materials. Like if I were going to finish this one out, and I probably will, because I kind of like where it's going already. I'd probably do this one in red brick. I've got a big red brick thing I like. But I would probably put a green roof on it. It kind of reminds me of this sort of Irish style house. Or I might do a cobblestone, which is a gray stone that goes sideways in the front. I think that's a neat look. That's my choice. That's what I would use. But you might use something different. You might make yours out of carbon fiber or something really neat, some neat new material that no one's even thought of. Or yours might be made out of that squishy stuff. What's that? My daughter's got these little squishy things you squish, and they I think they're just called squishies. But maybe your house is made out of, or Nerf. When we were kids, the Nerf footballs, everything was made out of Nerf. Sure. And that's, Kamari, that's a great thing. I hadn't even considered that. If you like, you can make a 3D model. You don't have to draw it. You can make a little model. Yes, you could use foam. You could use cardboard. If you want to, you can build it. However you want to complete this assignment, all I ask is that you show me in some way Minecraft. You might build your dream house in Minecraft. That's what I would recommend. I've got my dream house built in Minecraft. I'm going to see if I got time to show you real quick. So I'll show you my dream house in Minecraft. And if you don't have Minecraft Education Edition, you're missing it. That's the coolest free thing that you'll ever get, at least from the VLA. And that's not true. We might give you some cool shirts. No, Minecraft Education Edition is still cooler than the shirts. Okay. I'll show you mine real quick. So this is my dream home. And I recommend, if you want to do yours in this, let me see. It's been a long time since I built in this world. I think this is it. There's no ads in Minecraft. Orion, you love Minecraft. You get to build for infinitely. It's like having all the Legos they ever made. Join a Minecraft club. I'll teach you to love it, man. If you don't like it, don't join. But I think you'd be like, so this is my building. This is my home. Yeah, so it starts us off in a really cool place. Oh goodness, it's probably not gonna let me navigate very well because I'm trying to do two things at once. All right, so this is my world. Let's see if I can drop down here and I'll show you. This is my house in my world, and there's a lot of students who built cool houses here, but this is my house on the outside. I've got a tower. I don't know why someone put a potion on me, so I've got green bubbles. Sorry about that. But if you look, there's a tower that you go up in a glass, look out above, and I've got a big glass garden out back, and my house is made of this kind of gold brick, and it kind of goes back into the mountain, and it's got caves that go back into the mountain and all kinds of fun stuff. And so that's what I built mine in. Build yours in whatever you like. Draw it if you want to. You can make a model. Guys, anything. No, not in survival. I've never built in survival. Yeah, I've got to go too. Guys, have a great day. Turn those in. I'll have it set up by 2 o'clock. Check it this afternoon, okay? I've got my high scores coming. See you guys. Bye, guys. See y'all.